Today we're going to talk about aligning AFOs to optimize gait. Let's remind ourselves of what we know. We know that the pitch of the shank, or the shank to vertical angle at temporal midstance, is the prime determinant of gait. Therefore, if we can restore this, then we can greatly improve the person's gait by simply restoring the normal stance phase kinematics. So let's remind ourselves, what is a normal shank to vertical angle at temporal midstance? It is 10 to 12 degrees inclined, and the knee should be over the center of the foot, not over the heel or over the toes, and the thigh should be vertical. So this is what we want to replicate in our patients. So you can see in this patient here, with his AFO on and some heel wedges in his shoe, his knee is nicely over the center of his foot, and the blue line here shows that his shank to vertical angle is inclined about 10 to 12 degrees. So this position is going to help to optimize his gait alignment. What this also does when we have the proper shank to vertical angle is that it helps to replicate normal shank and thigh and trunk kinematics. So when we have the normal shank angle here, we have a nice vertical thigh and we have a nice vertical trunk. When we have a shank that is too vertical, we've destabilized the hip, so the patient has to flex the knee and flex the hip in order to remain stable. So we have a reclined thigh and then an inclined trunk. So you see the much more normal standing and temporal midstance mechanics of the trunk on the right when the shank is properly inclined, compared to the abnormal on the left when the shank is too vertical. And finally, in this picture here, we have a different patient also wearing AFOs and some wedging on the shoes. And in the picture on the left, we see improper kinematics during standing or temporal midstance. We see a thigh that is not vertical. We see a thigh that's reclined because we have a shank that is not inclined enough. And with more heel wedging added, on this picture on the right, we have a much more nicely inclined shank and a much closer to vertical thigh. So this is what we're looking for to optimize gait mechanics.